1. You remember that night? The darkness pressed in like a living thing. The voices of doubt circled you like wolves. And the storm above your head would not relent. Everything in you was being tested, not just your strength, but your faith, your loyalty, your very identity, your strength. Heaven watched in silence, not to abandon you, but to measure your identity, your strength. Heaven the path watched in silence, or would you stand unmoved, not to abandon you, but to measure your identity, your strength. Heaven the path watched in silence, the weight of stand unmoved. The heat of the trial moved, not to abandon the betrayal. None of it broke you. You didn't walk away. You didn't sell your but to measure your identity, your strength. Heaven the path. But to measure your identity, your strength. Heaven the path. But to measure your identity, your strength. Heaven the path. But to measure your identity, your strength. Heaven the path. But to measure your identity, your strength. Heaven the path. But to measure your identity, your strength. Heaven the path. 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 Heaven the counterfeit. Every sudden loss was making space for a glory you could not yet carry. The silence you felt was not God's absence, it was His confidence in you. He knew you would hold the line when others let it go. Do you realize how rare that is? Many hear the word, but few endure to the end. Many start running, but stumble when the path narrows. Yet you, beloved, have passed through the narrow gate of testing. The very fact you are here, listening to this, is proof that hell could not take you. Sin could not keep you, and despair could not drown you. And because you passed, the atmosphere around you has shifted. Doors that were locked are beginning to click open. Conversations are about to happen that you could never arrange on your own. Allies you have not yet met are already moving toward you. The assignment you carry now is heavier, not because God is trying to burden you, but because He is entrusting you with more. Remember this: when heaven promotes, hell notices. The trial you endured in secret has marked you in the spirit realm. Both angels and demons know you by name. Now, but do not fear, for where the attack intensifies, the covering multiplies. Heaven does not send its warriors into battle unguarded. This is the moment to walk forward without shrinking back. Do not treat your victory as a small thing. You didn't just survive, you overcame. You didn't just get through, you advanced. The trial was the threshing floor, and you have emerged as wheat, fit for the Master's table. And now I speak directly to your heart. Don't stay silent. Share this word, so it becomes a banner over other warriors still in the fire. If your spirit is saying, "This is for me," then lift your voice in the comments right now. Type the number 777 as a prophetic declaration that you have passed. You have been sealed, and heaven now stands with you. Like this. Share it with someone still wrestling in the dark. And subscribe, so this flow of strength and clarity never stops reaching you. This is not about algorithms. This is about alignment. The same God who kept you in the trial will now keep you in the victory. Your test is over. Your chapter has turned. And heaven, with all its armies, stands at your side. There is a mark now upon you, invisible to human eyes, yet blazing in the spiritual realm like a seal of fire. This is heaven's seal, not merely a symbol, but an authorization. It is the divine certification that you belong to the kingdom, that you have been entrusted with assignments of eternal weight. In the courts of heaven, this seal is not given lightly. It is only placed on those who have endured the refining, proven their loyalty, and refused to bend under the pressure of compromise. The moment the seal is set, the atmosphere around you changes. The very air you walk through seems different. There is a clarity in your steps, a steadiness in your decisions, and a weight in your words that wasn't there before. People may not understand it, but they feel it. Some will be drawn to you as if they recognize something ancient and holy upon you. Others will avoid you, unsettled by the authority that radiates from your spirit. This seal is not about status. It is about identity. It declares that you are set apart for sacred purposes. You are no longer permitted to live in the common flow of the world. Your desires, your ambitions, even your struggles are now under heaven's governance. The seal marks you as one who has surrendered to the King's will, and in that surrender, you have stepped into a greater freedom than you have ever known. The Word of God declares in the book of Ephesians, chapter 1, verse 13, "When you believed, you were marked in Him with a seal, the promised Holy Spirit." That seal carries more weight than 1,000 titles given by men. It cannot be forged, stolen, or replicated. Hell can mimic miracles and imitate voices, but it cannot produce this seal. This is why certain doors open for you without explanation, and why certain traps you never even see are dismantled before you arrive. The seal is recognized in both realms. Angels know it as a sign to assist. Demons see it as a command to retreat. You may notice a difference in how spiritual battles unfold now. The seal does not exempt you from conflict, but it shifts the balance. You walk into opposition carrying the evidence that you belong to the one who has already triumphed. This is not arrogance. It is confidence in the one whose authority you bear. There is also a deeper implication. The seal binds you to heaven's covenant promises. What God has spoken over you is now under divine protection. Prophetic words, once delayed, are now in motion. Seasons that were in waiting are beginning to activate. And because this is not just about your personal life, but about kingdom assignment, your obedience in the coming days will release blessings into places you have not even seen. But the seal is not a decoration. It is a responsibility. To carry it is to live with awareness. Your speech, your conduct, your choices, they all reflect the one whose name you bear. It is not about legalistic pressure, but about holy reverence. You will find that your spirit recoils more quickly from compromise now, that your discernment sharpens when deception tries to draw near. This is the Spirit guarding the seal. It is also a comfort. When uncertainty rises, the seal reminds you, you are His. When accusations come, The seal testifies on your behalf. When you feel unseen, the seal whispers that you are known in the highest courts of heaven. There will be moments ahead when you will be tempted to doubt this reality. The enemy will try to convince you that nothing has changed, that you are still who you were before the trial. But the seal remains. It is not based on feelings, it is grounded in heaven's decree. And heaven does not revoke what it has established. The seal also comes with an anointing that increases over time. It is not a static imprint. It grows brighter the more you walk in obedience. Each act of faith, each decision to trust, each refusal to compromise polishes it until its radiance becomes undeniable. And with every increase in radiance, your effectiveness in the spiritual realm multiplies. So, beloved, walk in the awareness of what you now carry. Heaven's seal is upon you, not as a distant, symbolic idea, but as a living reality. You are identified, authorized, and protected. The trial marked you. The seal confirms you. And from this point forward, every step you take is under the banner of the King whose name you bear. The battlefield has fallen silent, not because the war is over forever, but because you have just walked out of one of its most brutal arenas, and heaven has given you a moment to breathe. This is the silence after the battle, the sacred pause where the dust settles, the air clears, and you realize you are still standing. It is a strange feeling at first. You've been moving for so long, always braced for impact, always scanning for the next attack. Now there is stillness, and in that stillness, you hear it, not the roar of the storm, not the shouts of the enemy, but the gentle whisper of divine approval. It is not loud, but it carries the weight of eternity. It is the voice that says, "I saw you. I am pleased with you. Rest now, for you have fought well." This silence is not emptiness. It is fullness. It is the space where God pours back into you what the battle drained out. Strength seeps back into your bones. Your thoughts begin to align again with heaven's clarity. Even your breath feels different, deeper, steadier, more purposeful. This is the quiet in which God rewrites the narrative the enemy tried to tattoo on your soul. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms, chapter 23, verse 4. "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, your rod and your staff. They comfort me." End of chapter. The silence after the battle is where you realize that even in the valley, you were never alone. Every swing of your sword, every step you took through the darkness, was accompanied by the one who could not be moved. The comfort of his rod and staff is not just poetic language, it is the reality that kept you upright when everything tried to knock you down. But here's what you need to know. This silence is also strategic. Heaven does not give you rest simply for your own refreshment. The pause is preparation. In this quiet place, God positions you for the next assignment. He sharpens your discernment so you can recognize the difference between a door he opens and a trap the enemy sets. He strengthens your spirit so you will not be shaken when the next challenge comes. Do not mistake the quiet for abandonment. The enemy would love to convince you that the stillness means God has stepped back. But the truth is, the silence after the battle is one of the most intimate seasons you will ever walk through. This is when God speaks things to you that you could not have heard in the noise. You may feel the urge to fill this space with movement, to prove to yourself that you are still doing something. Resist that. The silence is not wasted time. It is divine time. Heaven is not measuring your worth by your activity, but by your alignment. This is when your spirit is recalibrated to move in sync with God's heartbeat. And here is the beautiful paradox. In this stillness, heaven's activity concerning you does not slow down. Angels still move at the King's command on your behalf. Promises are still in motion. The next chapter of your destiny is being prepared while you rest your hands. The battlefield may be quiet, but the courts of heaven are busy with your name on their agenda. This is why I want you to anchor this truth deep in your spirit. The silence is a sign of progress, not loss. You are not being ignored. You are being refreshed, refilled, and recommissioned. When the trumpet sounds again and the next call to arms comes, you will rise not as a weary survivor, but as a restored warrior, carrying fresh strength and sharper vision. So in this moment, I want you to write in the comments, "Still listening." This is not just a phrase, it's a covenant statement. You are telling heaven that your ears remain open even when your sword is sheathed. You are declaring to the unseen realm that your relationship with God is not dependent on noise, signs, or constant activity. By typing these two words, you are stepping into the identity of a true soldier who follows orders, whether in battle or in stillness. Type it so that every scroll through the comments becomes a river of warriors, affirming that they remain attentive to the King's voice. Let it be a prophetic echo that tells the enemy, "The silence is not my weakness, it is my watchtower." The war has paused. The weapons are at rest, and the air is clear enough for you to hear the sound of the King's footsteps drawing near. Listen well. Chosen one. The next orders are on their way. Somewhere in the courts of heaven, there is a record written in a scroll that bears your name. It is not a record of your failures, nor a tally of your mistakes. Those have been washed away. This scroll is different. It is the scroll of the victor, a testimony to the battles you have endured and the victories you have secured under the banner of the King. You may not have seen it with your natural eyes, but it exists in the unseen realm, and it is read aloud before witnesses that you cannot yet imagine. Each trial you faced, each prayer whispered in the dark, each moment you refused to surrender is written in lines of light that can never be erased. This scroll is more than a record, it is a decree. It announces your standing in the kingdom not as one barely surviving, but as one who has conquered. When heaven proclaims you a victor, the spiritual realm responds. Angels hear it as an order to support you in your next assignment. The enemy hears it as confirmation that the authority you carry is legitimate and cannot be challenged without consequence. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah. Chapter 1, verse 19. They will fight against you, but will not overcome you. For I am with you, and will rescue you, declares the Lord. Every word of that verse is woven into the scroll that bears your name. It is a permanent declaration that the outcome of your battles has already been decided in your favor. This is why, even before you see the next victory with your eyes, you can walk with the posture of one who has already overcome. The scroll also serves as a legal document in the heavenly courts. When accusations rise against you, whether from the enemy or from voices in your own past, the scroll is opened, and your record is clear. You are not defeated. You are not disqualified. You are not abandoned. The blood of the Lamb covers your past, and the victories you have walked through now form your testimony. In the ancient days, victors were given not just crowns but public proclamations of their triumph. In the kingdom, this scroll is that proclamation. It is a reminder to every power and principality that you belong to the Lord of hosts and that you carry his authority. This is why certain spiritual barriers crumble when you speak. This is why prayers you release in faith begin to shape realities around you. But the scroll of the victor is not an ending, it is a beginning. It is not placed in the archives to gather dust. It is carried with you into your next seasons. Every new challenge you face is met with the weight of your previous testimony. You do not walk into the unknown empty-handed. You walk in carrying the proof of God's faithfulness in your history. Understand this: the scroll is not about perfection. It is about perseverance. The record is not flawless because you never stumbled. It is flawless because you never let go. In heaven's eyes, the warrior who gets back up is just as victorious as the one who never fell. What matters is that you crossed the line, still holding the banner of your faith. There will be moments when you feel unworthy of this scroll. Moments when shame or doubt whisper that you are not as strong as heaven says you are. In those times, remember that this scroll was not earned by your strength alone. It is the result of a partnership, your obedience joined with God's power. Without him, the record would be empty. With him, it is overflowing. The scroll also carries an anointing for others. When you speak of your journey, you are not just sharing a story, you are releasing the fragrance of victory into the atmosphere. Your testimony becomes a key in someone else's prison door. The details of your battles become weapons in the hands of those who are still fighting theirs. And perhaps most humbling of all, the scroll of the victor is not for this age alone. In eternity, it will be among the treasures that testify to God's faithfulness across generations. It will be a witness that in your lifetime, you stood your ground, you kept the faith, and you finished the race assigned to you. So, chosen one, carry this truth with you. Your victories are not invisible. They are recorded in heaven, declared in the spirit realm, and woven into the unfolding plan of God. You do not walk forward as one uncertain of your place. You walk forward as one whose name is written in light, whose record is sealed by the King, and whose destiny cannot be revoked. You may not have noticed it yet, but you are not walking alone. The moment the trial ended and the verdict of heaven was spoken over you, the atmosphere around your life shifted. Angels not as distant figures in ancient stories, but as living, moving servants of the King have gathered at your side. They are not here for ceremony. They are here for mission. Some stand as guardians, ensuring that nothing touches you without heaven's permission. Others move ahead of you, preparing the way, dismantling traps the enemy set long before you arrived. Some walk beside you, whispering strength into your spirit when fatigue tries to settle in, and still others linger behind, covering your rear so no past wound can drag you back into old chains. It is written in the book of Psalms, chapter 91, verse 11, "For he will command his angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways." None. This is not a poetic metaphor. It is the reality you are living in right now. Heaven's army has been assigned to you, not because you are fragile, but because your assignment is dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. Your presence in certain places disrupts the enemy's plans. So heaven ensures you are never without backup. You might feel it in unexpected moments, the sudden calm in a place of chaos, the inexplicable clarity in the middle of confusion, the narrow escape from a danger you didn't even see coming. These are often the fingerprints of angels moving in obedience to the one who sent them. And here's the humbling truth. They are not with you because you called them. They are with you because God called you. Your alignment with His purpose has drawn heaven's resources to your side. Angels do not follow the popular. They follow the anointed. They stand with those carrying orders from the throne. Some of them have been with you longer than you realize, through seasons when you were unaware, through nights when you felt completely alone. They stood their ground around you. And now, as you step into this next phase of your calling, their activity increases. This is why your next steps matter so much. When you walk in obedience, you give them territory to secure. When you hesitate in fear, you limit the ground they can cover for you. Heaven's army is not here for decoration. They are here to partner with you in advancing the kingdom. And that's why I want to speak to you from a place of sincerity right now. If this word is stirring something deep in you, if you sense that heaven's protection and help have been with you all along, even in your lowest moments, then don't let it stay hidden. Share this message with someone you love, someone who needs to be reminded that they are not walking through life unguarded. There are people right now in your circle who are on the verge of giving up simply because they believe they are alone. Your sharing could be the spark that keeps them in the fight. And if you've been walking with us for a while, or even if this is your first time hearing a word like this, take a moment to stay connected. Subscribing isn't just about following content, it's about staying in the flow of the words, the truths, and the reminders that keep your spirit sharp. When you choose to stay connected, you're not just receiving, you're joining a stream of faith that flows to others as well. Even the simple act of liking this can help it reach someone whose spirit is starving for a confirmation like this. It's not about numbers, it's about reach. If heaven can send angels to walk with you, He can also use your click, your share, your connection, to put this exact word in front of the one who needs it. So walk today with your head lifted. You are surrounded. You are backed by an army that doesn't sleep, that doesn't retreat, and that doesn't negotiate with darkness. When you step into a room, they step in with you. When you pray, they align with your words. When you rest, they keep watch. The truth is, you have never been outnumbered. Not once. Not even in the battle you thought would break you. And now, more than ever, you are moving with heaven's full endorsement, full resources, and full defense. Let this awareness settle deep into you. You are not ordinary. Ordinary people walk unguarded. Chosen ones walk escorted. And you, beloved, have heaven's army at your side. There is something different in the air around you now. It is not just the absence of the storm, it is the arrival of a new weight, a holy weight. This is the weight of glory. It is not a burden meant to crush you, but a mantle meant to elevate you. When it rests upon you, you stand taller without realizing it, speak with more authority without forcing it, and carry a light in your eyes that unsettles the darkness before you even open your mouth. This glory is not the applause of men, nor the fleeting recognition of earthly platforms. It is heaven's recognition that you have been entrusted with something of eternal value. The trials you endured were not random cruelty. They were the forge where your spirit was prepared to carry this weight without buckling. The very pain that made you wonder if you could keep going was shaping the shoulders that now carry the mantle. The ancient words recorded in Romans, chapter 8, verse 18, still echo today. I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. And this glory changes the way you see everything. You begin to realize that not every battle is worth your energy. Some things are too small for someone carrying this kind of weight. You stop explaining yourself to every critic, because the mantle you carry speaks louder than your defense ever could. You find yourself drawn to higher ground, because you know the glory is not meant to be hidden in the low places. The weight of glory also comes with a shift in your relationships. Some people who once walked closely will not be able to keep pace now. Not because you are rejecting them, but because the altitude you are moving toward requires a different kind of breathing. Others will be drawn to you for the wrong reasons, attracted to the shine, but unprepared for the cost. Your discernment will sharpen as you learn to guard what has been placed upon you. And yes, the enemy will notice. The mantle you carry is visible in the spirit realm. Darkness will test its strength, but every attempt will only confirm what heaven already knows. You were chosen for this, prepared for this, and sealed for this. This is why your voice carries new weight when you speak truth, why your prayers seem to pierce deeper into situations than before. The glory is also an invitation. God does not place this mantle on you for you to simply admire it. He places it on you so you can step into assignments that others could not fulfill. You will be called into moments where your very presence shifts the atmosphere. You will walk into rooms where strategies are formed, and your words will be the spark that changes the entire course. This is why you must protect your spirit in this season. The glory is heavy, but it is also holy. To carry it well, you must keep your heart free from offense, your mind free from distraction, and your hands free from compromise. The enemy would love nothing more than to see you mishandle what you've been given. But the one who placed it on you will also give you the wisdom to carry it well. And now I want you to mark this moment. If you can feel this word speaking directly into where you are right now, I want you to drop the number 444 in the comments. Do it not as a random gesture, but as a prophetic act. The number 444 will stand as your personal declaration. I will carry the glory well. When you type it, you are agreeing with heaven that you accept the weight, you accept the cost, and you accept the responsibility. You are letting the spiritual realm know that you are aware of what rests on you, and you will not treat it lightly. Type it, and let that simple act become a memorial stone for this season. Weeks from now, months from now, when you see that number again, you will remember the day you confirmed in your own spirit that you were ready for the next level of trust from God. The mantle is already on your shoulders. The weight of glory is already shaping your walk. From this day forward, you will not move the same. Not because you are trying to be different, but because you are carrying something heaven has placed on you. And that changes everything. The moment you stepped into this new chapter, the spiritual realm shifted in recognition. You may not hear it with your ears, but the tremor of it moves through the unseen like a shockwave. Hell knows who you are now. This is not intimidation for its own sake. It is the reality of what happens when one of God's chosen walks out of the fire carrying heaven's verdict. Your authority is not theoretical. It is operational. It functions whether you feel strong or weak, because it is not rooted in emotion, but in position. You have been positioned under the authority of Christ. And from that place, you now carry the right to enforce His victory in the spaces you occupy. Demons are not impressed by talent, charisma, or human reputation. They respond to authority. And authority comes from being sent by the King himself. We see this pattern throughout Scripture. The 7 sons of Sceva in the book of Acts tried to use the name of Jesus without the relationship, and the spiritual realm exposed them instantly. But those who are truly sent, those who bear the seal of heaven, walk into conflict already recognized by both angels and demons. You have become one of those. This is why certain things you used to struggle against now crumble more easily. It's not that the enemy has stopped resisting. It's that your presence now carries a different weight. When you pray over a situation, it does not stay the same. When you stand in a place of intercession, the atmosphere begins to bend toward God's will. The power that once seemed distant is now flowing through you because you have been entrusted with it. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 14, verse 14. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Hell's recognition of your authority is not meant to puff you up with pride, but to anchor you in humility. You did not earn this position by sheer willpower. It was given to you through obedience, faith, and surrender. The moment you think it is yours to wield as you please, you risk stepping outside the covering that makes it effective. Authority is not a personal weapon, it is a delegated trust. This recognition also brings new responsibility. You will find yourself in situations where your silence or your action will tip the scales. Words you speak casually may have greater impact than you realize. So you must choose them with care. Even your presence in a place can shift the spiritual balance. So you must be discerning about where you go and why. It also means the enemy will attempt different strategies against you now. Direct attack may not work as it once did. So deception, distraction, or subtle compromise will be his tools of choice. The goal will be to dull your edge, to make you second-guess the authority you carry. This is why you must remain anchored in the Word, rooted in prayer, and sensitive to the Spirit's promptings. But here's the good news. Hell's recognition of your authority is also a confession of its own defeat. The fact that you are on the radar of darkness means you are already disrupting its plans. You have become a moving target because your life is now a moving weapon. Every step you take in obedience releases pressure against the gates of hell, and they cannot prevail against it. This authority is not meant to be hoarded for personal safety. It is meant to be exercised for kingdom advancement. That means speaking life into dead places, confronting lies with truth, and declaring God's promises into environments saturated with fear. It means not shrinking back when you feel the resistance rise, because resistance is often the clearest sign that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. The enemy would prefer you never discover just how much has been placed in your hands. He thrives on convincing believers that they are powerless, that the fight is unwinnable, that their prayers are just whispers in the wind. But when you know who sent you, when you walk in the reality that heaven's authority is backing you, every lie begins to unravel. You do not need to announce this authority to everyone you meet. It will announce itself. It will be seen in the peace that stays with you when chaos surrounds you. It will be heard in the conviction of your words. It will be felt in the way spiritual climates shift without you forcing them. This is what happens when hell recognizes that you are no longer just surviving, you are advancing. And so, chosen one, walk forward with steady confidence. You are not in this position by accident, and you are not operating alone. Heaven's verdict over you has been sealed. Your authority has been acknowledged. and every realm knows it. The battlefield ahead is already aware of your arrival, and it is already changing because you are here. There is a weight to this next calling that cannot be measured in human terms. It is the mantle of intercession, a sacred trust given only to those who have proven they will carry the burdens of others as faithfully as they carry their own. You have been entrusted not merely to pray, but to stand in the gap between heaven and earth, between God's mercy and the enemy's accusations. Intercession is not casual conversation with God. It is standing on holy ground where the unseen is shaped. It is the place where your prayers are not just requests, but decrees, where you speak not from wishful thinking, but from alignment with heaven's will. This mantle draws you into battles you may never see with your eyes. For the sake of victories you may never personally experience, and yet you pray as if they were your own. The Spirit's call to intercession often begins as a stirring in your heart. You feel a burden for a person, a city, a nation, or even a situation that seems far from your life. That burden is not random. It is the King placing his concern into your hands. The moment you sense it, you have stepped into a role where eternity listens to your voice. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 18, "Truly I tell you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven." To carry the mantle of intercession is to be trusted with spiritual keys. You are given access to shut doors the enemy is trying to force open, and to open doors heaven has decreed for breakthrough. These keys are not ornamental, they are active instruments of authority. When you use them, enter your spiritual landscape shift. Your prayers become legal petitions in the courts of heaven, and your declarations can dismantle assignments of darkness before they manifest in the natural realm, disarming them at their root. But this role is not without cost. Intercessors often feel the weight of warfare more intensely because they are on the front lines in the spirit. You may find yourself awake at hours you cannot explain, praying for situations you barely understand. You may feel an urgency in your spirit before news of a crisis reaches the world. You will carry victories and losses in your heart as if they were your own because, in a spiritual sense, they are. There will be days when the burden feels almost unbearable. Yet, even in that weight, you are not alone. The Spirit Himself intercedes through you, giving utterance when words fail and strength when your own reserves run dry. Every tear you shed in those moments is gathered by heaven. Every groan is heard, and every act of obedience in prayer is recorded as a strike against the plans of darkness. The mantle also brings a deep sensitivity to the Spirit's voice. You will sense His nudges to pray for someone at specific moments, even without knowing why. You will feel His grief over sin and His joy over repentance. You will hear His strategies for breakthrough, and those strategies may not always make sense in the natural, but they are precise in the Spirit. And yet, for all the weight it carries, the mantle of intercession is also a place of intimacy. To intercede is to be close enough to God's heart to feel what He feels. It is to be drawn into His counsel, to be trusted with secrets that are not for public words, but for private prayer. It is a partnership where you become an extension of His compassion and His authority on the earth. This is why you must guard this mantle carefully. Distraction can dull it, pride can misuse it, and fatigue can weaken it. The enemy knows the power of a focused intercessor and will do whatever he can to break your rhythm. But the same God who placed this mantle on you will sustain you in it, giving you fresh oil for every season. There will be prayers you pray in secret that will shape public events. There will be answers you never hear about on earth but will see in eternity. There will be battles you win that others never even know were fought, because you fought them in the place only God could see. And so, chosen one, carry this mantle with both humility and courage. Your voice matters in the courts of heaven. Your petitions shift realities. Your alignment with God's will through prayer is a weapon the enemy cannot counterfeit and cannot withstand. You are not just a witness to what God is doing. You are a participant in bringing it to pass. There are places in the kingdom that are not visible to the casual observer. They are the hidden chambers, sacred spaces where strategies are revealed, where God speaks in detail about what is coming, and where His chosen are given access to mysteries that cannot be received in the noise of the crowd. This is where you now stand. Not everyone is brought here. Some live their entire lives at the outer courts, content with hearing the stories told by others. But you have been called deeper. The trials you endured, the obedience you offered, and the faith you held onto when nothing made sense have all brought you into this place of access. The hidden chambers are not entered by physical steps, but by spiritual posture. You arrive here through surrender, humility, and a hunger for the voice of God above all else. It is the place where you do not merely hear what He has done, but where you are shown what He is about to do. And with that revelation comes responsibility for heaven never reveals without also commissioning. As Jesus Himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 13, verse 11, the knowledge of the secrets of the kingdom of heaven has been given to you, but not to them. These chambers are not rooms of idle conversation. They are war rooms. The strategies given here are not for entertainment, they are for execution. You will be shown where the enemy plans to move before he makes his advance. You will be given insight into the hearts of people so you can minister with precision. You will be entrusted with prophetic blueprints that can shift the course of families, cities, and even nations. But with every secret comes the demand for discretion. You cannot carry the treasures of this chamber into careless hands. Some things are for you to act upon quietly. Others are for you to release in God's timing. The temptation will be to speak too soon, to prove what you know. Resist it. What is truly from heaven will not lose power by waiting for the right moment. You may find that your prayers begin to change in this place. They will become less about personal comfort and more about kingdom alignment. You will pray over situations you might never see with your eyes, but your spirit will know the impact. You will find yourself declaring things that seem impossible in the natural, only to watch them unfold months or years later, exactly as you were shown. The hidden chambers also deepen your intimacy with God. You begin to understand His heart in ways that cannot be learned from a distance. You will feel His joy over victories yet unseen, and His grief over injustices still hidden. You will sense His urgency in moments when others are unaware anything is shifting. In these chambers, you are not just informed, you are transformed. And here is a truth you must hold on to. With greater revelation comes greater resistance. The enemy fears what you now carry, because light that exposes his plans is light that destroys them. He will try to distract you, to lure you back to the noise where you cannot hear clearly. That is why you must guard this place with discipline, returning here often. Even when the demands of life pull at you, the strategies you receive here will sometimes seem small, a single act of kindness, A simple word, spoken to a stranger. A decision to step away from something that others see no harm in. But in the kingdom, small keys can open massive doors, and small seeds can produce a harvest beyond imagination. Some days you will walk out of the hidden chamber carrying a single sentence that will guide your steps for months. Other days you will leave with pages of instruction that will require patience, faith, and courage to fulfill. Either way, what you carry is not trivial. It has been weighed, measured, and placed in your hands, because heaven knows you will not waste it. And so in this moment, I want you to mark your agreement with heaven. Write in the comments, I receive. Let those 2 words be your seal on this revelation. You are telling God you are ready to carry what He chooses to reveal, ready to protect it until the appointed time, and ready to act without hesitation when He says, go. It is more than a phrase. It is your yes to the strategies of heaven, spoken in the presence of both angels and adversaries. The hidden chambers are not for the curious, they are for the committed. And now, you walk among those trusted to see what others cannot see, to hear what others cannot hear, and to do what others cannot do. The crown reserved for endurers is unlike anything fashioned by human hands. It is not gold alone, nor is it studded merely with jewels. It is woven from victories, from perseverance, from faith that did not bow under the weight of trial. This is not a reward for those who simply started the race. It is for those who finished it. Even when every step felt like a battle, this crown carries a testimony. Each facet of it reflects a chapter in your story, the night you kept praying, when the answers seemed far away, the season you kept serving when you felt unnoticed, the moment you forgave when bitterness would have been easier. It is a crown forged in obedience and refined in fire. It bears the memory of nights when you wrestled with doubt, yet chose faith anyway. When every voice told you to give up, you pressed on. Those moments are now jewels in the crown, each one shining with proof that you trusted the one who called you more than the comfort of walking away. It holds the fragrance of worship lifted from a place of pain, the kind of praise that rises pure because it has been sifted through tears. This fragrance lingers in heaven's throne room, a continual reminder that your devotion was not tied to circumstance, but to love, the kind of love that endures through fire and comes out brighter. It carries the weight of silent victories no one saw, battles fought in prayer when no applause came, choices for righteousness when compromise seemed easier. These unseen triumphs are the gold thread woven into the crown's design, making it more than decoration, making it the testimony of a life wholly given to the purposes of God. We find in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love Him." That promise is not a distant, abstract idea. It is a reality that begins now. The crown is not only for eternity, it rests on you spiritually in this life, marking you as one who has endured. The enemy sees it. Heaven sees it. And when you step into situations carrying that crown, the authority it represents goes with you. This is why your journey has felt so costly. Heaven does not give such crowns cheaply. They are not handed out for minimal effort or half-hearted loyalty. They are reserved for those who have been proven trustworthy, who did not throw away their confidence when the path grew dark. And here's the beautiful thing. This crown cannot be stolen. Earthly rewards can be taken. Reputations can be tarnished. Possessions can be lost. But what God places upon your spirit is beyond the reach of any thief. It is secure, sealed by the one who gave it. Wearing this crown will change the way you walk, not in arrogance, but in quiet confidence. You will move with the knowledge that you have passed through fire and not been consumed. You will speak with the weight of someone who knows God's faithfulness firsthand, and without even trying, you will inspire others to keep going, simply because your life says, it's worth it. Don't give up. But this is also where your influence expands. The crown is not meant to be admired in isolation. It is meant to be seen, so that others will be encouraged to endure as well. Every time you share your testimony, every time you stand beside someone in their storm, you are multiplying the impact of that crown. That is why I want to speak to you sincerely right now. If this word is stirring something deep inside you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. There's someone in your life right now who is on the edge of quitting. Your simple act of sharing might be the reminder they need to keep going. And if you've been walking this journey with us, or even if this is your first time hearing a word like this, make sure you stay connected. Subscribing is not just about clicking a button, it's about making sure these reminders and confirmations keep finding their way to you. Because the road is long, and encouragement is fuel for the journey. Even the small act of liking this message has purpose. It might feel insignificant, but in this digital space, that click helps it travel further, reaching someone who may desperately need to hear that their endurance is not in vain. You could be the link between someone's discouragement and their breakthrough. This is not about chasing numbers, it's about chasing souls, about making sure no one walks away from their calling simply because they forgot that the crown is real and the reward is worth it. So lift your head, chosen one. You wear something that hell cannot remove, that time cannot fade, and that death cannot touch. Walk as one who knows the value of what rests upon you. Protect it, honor it, and let it remind you and everyone who sees you that perseverance always produces glory. Something happens when your steps are no longer just movement through time and space, but become acts of war in the spirit. Every place you tread, every territory your feet touch, shifts the atmosphere because you carry the authority and presence of the one who sent you. You are not just traveling through life, you are claiming ground for the kingdom. This is the reality of your calling. Now your footsteps have become warfare. The enemy does not merely watch you pass by. He feels the disturbance when you enter his territory. The spiritual ground trembles because it recognizes the weight of heaven upon you. What you carry is not passive. It confronts, disrupts, and reclaims what darkness thought was secure. It was written in the book of Joshua, chapter 1, verse 3. I will give you every place where you set your foot, as he promised Moses. Now, that promise still breathes today. It is not bound to one generation or one man. It belongs to all who walk under God's commission. The ground you touch in obedience becomes contested territory, but it also becomes promised territory. Every step is a declaration that the rule of heaven is advancing. This truth explains why certain places feel heavier than others. You may walk into a room, a building, or even a neighborhood and sense the oppression hanging in the air. That is not your imagination, it is your spirit discerning the spiritual climate. And when you step there, you bring the light and authority of the kingdom with you. Your footsteps are not loud in the natural, but in the spirit. They sound like the march of an advancing army. Angels align with your movement. Demons are forced to shift and scatter. Old strongholds begin to crack. You are not just being somewhere. You are altering the ground beneath your feet. This is why God often directs your steps in ways you do not understand. Sometimes He leads you into places you would never choose on your own, because there is territory there that needs to be reclaimed. Other times, He keeps you in one place longer than you expected because the work is not yet finished. Every delay, every redirection, is part of a larger strategy. You will also notice that the enemy works hard to keep you from certain places. Distractions, fear, unexpected obstacles all can arise. The moment you try to move toward ground God has promised you, this is not coincidence. The adversary knows what will happen if you stand there, so he tries to keep you away. But you carry the authority to break through those barriers. When your footsteps are warfare, even ordinary activities can have extraordinary impact. A conversation in a workplace, a prayer whispered while walking down a street, a moment of worship in your home, all become acts of planting kingdom flags in the soil of everyday life. It is important, however, to walk in awareness. This kind of authority is not a license for recklessness. Just as soldiers move with discipline and strategy, so must you. Some places require preparation before you enter. Some require prayer covering, fasting, or the agreement of other believers. You do not rush into every battle simply because you can. You move as the Spirit directs. You will also find that your influence extends beyond the physical locations you enter. Your words, carried through technology or even passed from person to person, can land in places your feet have never touched. The authority you carry in Christ is not confined to geography, it is released through obedience. But never underestimate the power of physically standing in a place God has sent you. There is something about your actual presence that shifts the dynamic. It is not your human strength doing it. It is the agreement of your spirit with the will of God in that moment and location. This is why in the coming days you must be attentive to the Spirit's nudges. He may prompt you to take a walk in your own neighborhood, to visit a specific person, or to go pray in a certain location. These assignments may seem small, but in the unseen realm, they are significant strikes against darkness. And as you keep moving, step by step, you will begin to see the pattern. Places that were heavy become lighter. Situations that were stuck begin to shift. And people who were resistant become open. This is the effect of carrying His authority in your walk. You are not wandering aimlessly. You are advancing with purpose. Every footprint you leave in obedience is a claim that says, "This belongs to the Lord." And whether you realize it or not, heaven records those steps. So, chosen one, walk boldly. Every step is a seed of victory. Every place you tread is an opportunity for God's kingdom to expand. And as long as you keep moving where He sends you, the ground beneath your feet will tell the story of a warrior who walked. And by walking, one, there is a shift that happens when heaven decides to amplify your voice. It's not about volume in the natural, it's about resonance in the spirit. Words you speak in obedience begin to carry weight far beyond your immediate reach. They travel like arrows, breaking through barriers and unlocking places where chains have been tight for years. This is the season where your voice is not simply heard, it is recognized. In the unseen realm, it has a signature. Angels move when they hear it because they know it carries heaven's commission. Demons flinch when they hear it because it carries heaven's authority. And those living under the weight of oppression feel a sudden lifting when your words reach them. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 13, "It is written, I believed, therefore I have spoken." Since we have that same spirit of faith, we also believe and therefore speak. Then, you are not speaking from opinion or emotion alone. You are speaking from belief, anchored in God's truth. That is why your voice carries the power to shake gates. When the Spirit prompts you to declare something, it is not just encouragement. It is a spiritual order being issued into the atmosphere. There will be moments when your words seem simple, but their effect will be profound. You might offer a sentence of comfort, and it will echo in someone's soul until it breaks despair. You might declare healing, and sickness will retreat without fanfare. You might proclaim freedom, and someone bound for years will find themselves walking in liberty. But this amplified voice is also a stewardship. You cannot afford to speak carelessly in this season. Words you release in frustration or doubt carry influence too, and the enemy would love to twist them into weapons against the very people you are called to help. That is why you must let your speech be saturated in truth and guided by the Spirit. You may also find that God draws you into more moments of silence between speaking. The amplified voice is not meant to be constant noise. It is meant to be precise. A single sentence in God's timing can accomplish more than hours of human persuasion. This kind of voice is often forged in hidden places. Before heaven amplifies it, God purifies it. He takes you through seasons where you learn to speak only what He says, where you resist the urge to fill the air just to be heard. And when that process is complete, every word you speak becomes a vessel of His will. When your voice shakes gates, it's not just about tearing down what the enemy has built. It's about opening what God has locked for the appointed time. Sometimes you will speak and watch doors swing open almost instantly. Other times, your declaration will be the first strike in a long battle, but it will still set the course for breakthrough. There's a reason the enemy works so hard to silence you through fear, intimidation, or distraction. He knows that one well-timed declaration from you can unravel months of his work. That's why he will try to make you doubt the power of your own words or feel unworthy to speak them. But the authority of your voice does not come from you. It comes from the one who gave it. In the days ahead, the Spirit will lead you into moments where you will feel an unusual boldness rise up. Do not dismiss it. That boldness is your signal to speak. And when you do, trust that something is shifting, even if you cannot see it yet. To anchor yourself in this reality right now, I want you to type the number 555 in the comments. Do it as a declaration that you are ready for your voice to carry the weight of heaven's authority. By typing 555, you are agreeing with God's plan to use your words as instruments of freedom, healing, and alignment with His will. You are telling the unseen realm, I will not be silent when the Spirit says, speak. This simple act becomes a prophetic agreement. Every time you see the number again, it will remind you that your voice is not ordinary, and neither is your calling. You have been entrusted to carry declarations that shake gates and set captives free. So guard your words. Chosen one, speak with intention, and when the moment comes to release what God has placed in your mouth, let it go with the full force of faith, knowing that heaven is backing every syllable. The moment comes when those marked by heaven are no longer hidden in preparation, but are sent into territories others feared to enter. This is the commission of the chosen. It is not a casual invitation, it is a royal assignment. Sealed with the authority of the King and backed by the resources of heaven. When God sends you, it is never random. Every detail of your journey up to this point has been shaping you for this exact moment. The challenges that once made you question your calling were actually training you for the exact kind of resistance you will meet ahead. The victories you've already walked through are now weapons you carry into this next field. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old, the book of Isaiah, chapter 6, verse 8, "Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, 'Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?' And I said, 'Here am I. Send me.'" Ensign, this sending is not always to distant nations or foreign lands, though for some it will be. Often, it is to places much closer, but just as spiritually barren, workplaces thick with compromise, communities gripped by despair, families fractured by division. These territories may look ordinary in the natural, but in the spirit, they are battlefields. When God commissions you, He is not just assigning a location, He is giving you an atmosphere to shift. You do not walk in to simply blend in. You walk in to carry His presence, His truth, and His order into places where chaos has reigned. This is why your preparation was so intense. The ground you are sent to is not neutral. With this commission comes a deep sense of responsibility. You are not just representing your own name, you are representing the kingdom. The way you speak, the way you work, the way you carry yourself, all of it becomes a testimony of the one who sent you. This doesn't mean perfection, but it does mean intentionality. You will find that in these new territories, there are moments of supernatural favor. Doors that should be locked will open. Hearts that seemed closed will soften. Conversations that you could never orchestrate will suddenly present themselves. This is not coincidence. It is the hand of God clearing the way for the mission to advance. But there will also be resistance. The enemy does not surrender territory easily. He will attempt to stir confusion, provoke offense, and create distractions to weaken your focus. That is why your anchor must remain in the one who sent you. When you remember the source of your commission, you will not be swayed by either applause or opposition. This commission is not about your comfort. It will stretch you, demand more of you than you think you can give, and take you into situations where you must rely on God's wisdom moment by moment. But it is also where you will see His power most clearly. The miracles you have read about will become the miracles you witness, and in some cases, the miracles you release. You will also discover that the commission is not meant to be carried alone. God will align you with others who have assignments that connect with yours. These partnerships are strategic together. Your influence multiplies. Some will walk with you for a season, others for a lifetime. But all will play a role in advancing the mission. The beauty of the commission of the chosen is that it transforms not just the territory, but the one sent. As you obey in each step, you will find your own faith deepening, your discernment sharpening, and your capacity for love expanding. The very act of carrying the mission refines you into a truer reflection of the one who sent you. And when your time in one territory is complete, God will not leave you wandering. He will send you again, perhaps to a place even more resistant, but also more ready for transformation. Each sending builds on the last, expanding both your reach and your authority in the Spirit. So, chosen one, Understand what this means. You have been hand-picked for this moment. The King has placed his seal on you, his authority within you, and his assignment before you. Where others saw risk, he saw readiness. Where others hesitated, he heard your "Send me." And now, heaven waits to see the impact of your obedience in the territory ahead. There are unmistakable signs that follow those marked by heaven. They are not manufactured, nor are they the product of human persuasion. They are the natural overflow of living in alignment with God's will and carrying His authority. These signs are not random acts of blessing. They are confirmations that the kingdom is present and active through your life. Some of these signs are visible to everyone. They appear in moments when impossible situations turn around with no logical explanation. A sickness leaves suddenly. A closed door opens without negotiation. A problem that has resisted every solution suddenly dissolves after prayer. These are the outward manifestations that draw attention, but they are only part of the picture. Other signs are more subtle, seen only by those with discernment. These may look like coincidences to the untrained eye, but you will recognize them as divine alignments, meeting the right person at the right time, arriving somewhere just as an opportunity presents itself, or sensing the Spirit's nudge to act at a moment that proves to be pivotal. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Joel, chapter 2, verse 28, "And afterward, I will pour out my Spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams. Your young men will see visions." This outpouring is not reserved for a distant revival or a select few. It is part of the life of those who walk under the mark of heaven now. The prophetic flow becomes more natural. Dreams begin to carry messages, and visions are given not just for personal encouragement, but for kingdom assignments. One of the most powerful signs that follow the marked ones is the shift in atmosphere they bring. When you enter a space, peace replaces tension. Confusion begins to clear. Hope rises without you having to speak a word. This is because you carry the presence of the One who is peace, light, and truth. Another sign is supernatural endurance. Where others would be exhausted, you find renewed strength. Where situations would break others, you stand. This is not because you are invincible in yourself, but because the Spirit within you refuses to let the fire consume you. People will notice it, even if they cannot explain it. The unshakable calm, the steady determination, the ability to keep moving forward. Provision is also a common sign. It does not always mean abundance in luxury, but it does mean that you never lack what you need for the mission. Resources arrive on time, often from unexpected places. Sometimes it's finances. Other times it's open doors, connections, or skills you suddenly discover you possess. It is heaven's way of saying, "If I sent you, I will sustain you." And marked ones also carry a magnetic grace for divine appointments. You will find yourself in conversations with strangers that feel orchestrated, or in positions to answer questions you didn't know were being asked. It's as if heaven places you exactly where someone's prayer is about to be answered, and you become the delivery vessel. These signs are not to elevate your ego. They are to point back to the source. The moment they become about personal credit, the flow diminishes. Humility is the guardrail that keeps the signs pure. When you remember that these are not your works, but His works through you, the impact deepens and the witness strengthens. And perhaps the most enduring sign is transformation, not just in others, but in you. The longer you walk under heaven's mark, the more you find yourself responding differently to life. Fear loses its grip. Temptations lose their shine. Compassion grows in places where you once felt indifference. The Spirit's character becomes more evident in your own. This is why these signs matter so much. They are evidence that the kingdom is real and active now. They are invitations for others to step into the same reality, to believe that God is not distant, and to see that He still moves in power. You will not have to force these signs to appear. They are the natural outflow of obedience, intimacy, and alignment. Just as a tree does not strain to produce fruit, but simply remains rooted and nourished, so will these signs appear as you remain rooted in Him. Some will misunderstand them. Some will try to explain them away. Others will chase them without seeking the one who gives them. But for you, they are reminders that your life is intertwined with heaven's activity, that you are not walking alone, and that your steps are part of something much larger than yourself. So, chosen one, be attentive, notice the signs, honor them, and thank the one who sends them. Let them remind you, in difficult moments, that heaven is still with you, still moving, still confirming that you are marked for a purpose that no one and nothing can erase. There is a vantage point in the kingdom that not everyone is given a place on the watchtower. It is a high and set-apart position from which you can see what others cannot, where you are able to discern the approach of both danger and opportunity before they reach the ground level. To be placed here is not for comfort, it is for responsibility. The watchtower assignment is a calling of vigilance. It is about more than observation, it is about readiness. You are stationed here because heaven trusts you to stay alert, to hear clearly, and to sound the alarm when the Spirit shows you something coming. This role is not seasonal, it is continuous. Whether the air feels still or the winds are shifting, you remain on post. The ancient words recorded in Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 1, declare, I will stand at my watch and station myself. On the ramparts, I will look to see what He will say to me. From the watchtower, you see the early signs of spiritual movement. You notice when a storm is forming in the distance, even if those below see only clear skies. You sense the stirring of revival before anyone else hears the sound of it. Your vision is sharpened, and your ears are tuned to the frequencies of heaven. This assignment is not for those who crave distraction. It requires focus and discipline. The watchtower is often a lonely place, not because you are abandoned, but because the view you carry is unique. There will be moments when others question what you see because they cannot see it yet. This is why courage is as important as vision in this role. And here's the reality. The watchtower is also a place of intercession. You don't just see you pray. You don't just notice you act in the Spirit. Many victories on the ground will be the direct result of prayers prayed from this high place, long before the battle began. Being on the watchtower also means carrying the burden of warning. Sometimes God will show you things not so you can fix them yourself, but so you can alert others. This requires wisdom, because timing matters. A premature warning can be dismissed. A delayed warning can be too late. This is why you must stay sensitive to the Spirit's timing and voice. In this position, your influence will grow not through force, but through faithfulness. People will begin to recognize that your discernment is accurate, your counsel is sound, and your timing is reliable. They may not always understand how you see what you see, but they will learn to trust the fruit of it. And I want to speak to you honestly here. If you recognize yourself in this, then make sure you stay connected. Like, share, and comment on this message, not as routine actions, but as ways of keeping this word in circulation. Someone in your circle is also on the watchtower, but feels isolated. Your engagement may be what leads them to realize they are not alone. Write something in the comments, even a simple line like, "Still on watch," to publicly affirm your post in this season. That declaration may seem small, but it will become a rallying point for other watchmen and watchwomen who are holding their position quietly and faithfully. Sharing this word may put it in the path of someone about to step down from their assignment because they feel unseen or unheard. And if you subscribe, you're ensuring that these confirmations and reminders keep coming to you, so you can remain steady in your place without being pulled by the noise below. Your presence on the watchtower changes the outcome of battles. You see, you pray, you declare, and you hold the line until reinforcements arrive. You may never receive public credit for it, and that's the point. The recognition you seek is not from men, but from the one who stationed you here. So do not grow weary in this high place. The view you carry is rare, and the responsibility you bear is vital, whether you are watching over a family, a community, a ministry, or even a nation. Your role matters. The kingdom needs those who will remain awake when others sleep. And when your shift feels long, remember this: the one who placed you on the watchtower does not leave you there alone. His presence is your constant companion, his voice your clearest guide, and his strength your sustaining force. There is a stirring in the distance, a sound not yet loud to the world, but unmistakable in the spirit. It is the sound of a coming wave, not of destruction, but of life, not of chaos, but of order returning. And you, chosen one, are not called to watch it from the shore. You are called to lead it. Revival does not begin with crowds. It begins with vessels. Before the wave touches the multitudes, it fills those who are willing to be carried by it. Leading a move of God is not about holding a position. It is about being positioned. The wave looks for those who are anchored enough not to be swept away, but free enough to move wherever the Spirit directs. The voice of God spoke through Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 1. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Leading a wave means carrying that light into the deep waters before anyone else dares to step in. It means setting the pace, walking forward when the horizon still looks empty, and trusting that the swell you feel in your spirit will soon be seen by every eye. This calling will cost you. You will be required to leave the comfort of safe harbors and venture into waters where the current is strong. The weight of responsibility will press on you, not because God is trying to burden you, but because He is trusting you with something sacred, the shaping of momentum that will affect countless lives. There will be those who misunderstand you in this season. Some will think you are moving too fast. Others will accuse you of hesitating too long. But the pace of the wave is set by heaven, and your role is not to please the onlookers, but to respond to the pull of the tide in your spirit. You will need both courage and discernment. Courage to step into places no one has prepared for you, and discernment to know when to move forward and when to hold still so the wave can gather strength. Sometimes leadership means advancing boldly. Other times it means resisting the urge to act prematurely. The coming wave will not look like the moves of God from the past. It will be marked by an unusual unity, bringing together people and groups that once kept their distance. It will carry a deep hunger for holiness, not just for blessing. It will be accompanied by signs and wonders, but they will not be the focus. The focus will be the King himself. Your leadership in this wave will be less about command and more about example. Those following will not be responding to orders alone, but to the evidence of God's presence in your own life. They will be drawn by the authenticity of your walk, the purity of your motives, and the steadiness of your devotion. In practical terms, leading a wave means preparing in advance for what is coming. You will need to dig deep wells of prayer, not just for yourself, but for those who will be caught in the swell. You will need to strengthen your foundations in the Word, so that when questions, challenges, and opposition rise, you have more than emotion to stand on. You have truth. You will also need to guard your heart from two dangers: pride in the visible success of the wave, and discouragement when progress feels slow. Both are traps that can pull a leader out of position. Remember that the wave is not yours. It belongs to the one who sent it. You are a steward, not the source. And there will be moments when the wave feels overwhelming, when the demands on your time, energy, and spirit stretch you to the edge. In those moments, do not retreat in isolation. Return to the one who first called you into the water. He will remind you that you are not carrying the wave. The wave is carrying you. When the swell finally reaches full strength, you will see things you have prayed for quietly come to life in ways beyond what you imagined. Hardened hearts will soften. Old wounds will heal. Generations will stand together in worship. And you will know that every moment of preparation, every unseen act of obedience, was worth it. The coming wave is not an interruption to your life. It is the fulfillment of everything God has been shaping in you. And when you lead it well, its impact will extend far beyond your own reach, touching shores you will never set foot on, shaping destinies you will never meet until eternity. So, chosen one, stand ready. Keep your eyes on the horizon, your heart anchored in the truth, and your spirit tuned to the voice of the one who calls. The waters are rising, the movement is forming, and when the wave breaks, you will be at its crest, not because you sought the spotlight, but because you said yes when heaven was looking for a leader. There comes a moment in the life of every chosen one when heaven itself speaks over them with a blessing that cannot be revoked. It is not the applause of men, which fades with time, nor the fleeting affirmation of circumstance. It is the final benediction of heaven, a decree from the throne that seals your identity, your assignment, and your future. This blessing is not given casually. It comes after the proving, after the refining, after the long road where obedience was tested in the shadows. When it is spoken, it does more than affirm your worth. It releases power for the seasons ahead. Heaven's benediction is both a declaration and an impartation. The voice of God declared through the book of Numbers, chapter 6, verses 24 to 26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. May, when this blessing is spoken over you, it is not a wish, it is a reality being established. The Lord bless you speaks of increase, favor, and provision. not just for survival, but for the fulfillment of your calling. The Lord keep you, declares supernatural preservation in a world filled with dangers seen and unseen. The Lord make his face shine on you is the assurance of his nearness, that no matter how dark the path, his presence will light it. Be gracious to you speaks of mercy and strength in the moments when you fall short. A reminder that his help is never far from those he calls his own. And the Lord turn his face toward you is the language of intimate attention, the King looking directly upon his servant with delight. Give you peace is more than the absence of conflict. It is the presence of wholeness, the restoration of all that has been fractured. This benediction is not the end of your journey. It is the seal on everything that has come before and the covering over everything that lies ahead. It is the final word over your past, present, and future, and no force in heaven or on earth can reverse it. The blessing of heaven changes how you move forward. You no longer walk in uncertainty, for the word over you has been spoken. You no longer need to strive for validation, for the highest authority has affirmed you. You no longer fear what lies ahead, for the one who holds the future has already gone before you. Those who carry this blessing also carry a responsibility. You become an ambassador of the very grace and favor you have received. Your life becomes a living testimony of what it means to be kept by God, to walk in his light, and to rest in his peace. There will still be challenges, but they will meet you differently now. Opposition will come, but it will find you covered. Trials will rise, but they will meet the decree that you are blessed, kept, and at peace. Even in seasons of waiting or wilderness, the benediction will remain as a steady reminder. Heaven has spoken, and the matter is settled. And there is something else this blessing does. It multiplies. The more you live under it, the more it flows through you to others. People will encounter you and find themselves comforted, strengthened, or stirred to hope, not because of eloquent words, but because of the presence you carry. This is the nature of heaven's benediction. It is never meant to be hoarded. It is a river, not a reservoir. As you live in it, you will find yourself becoming a channel for it, speaking, blessing over others with the same authority that has been spoken over you. So, chosen one, receive this truth. The blessing over you is irrevocable. It was spoken in the courts of heaven, recorded in the eternal archive, and written across your spirit in a way that no circumstance can erase. You have been approved, affirmed, and appointed for the days to come. And from this point forward, every step you take will be under the covering of a benediction that cannot be undone. The journey we have walked together in these words is not just a story, it is your reality. From the fire of testing to the seal of heaven, from the scroll of victory to the final benediction, you have seen what it means to be chosen, prepared, and sent. And now, you stand in the fullness of your calling. But hear me, this is not the end. This is the threshold. Everything God has spoken over you, every promise sealed in your spirit, is meant to move outward, touching lives, shifting atmospheres, and advancing the kingdom. The enemy's hope was to silence you before this moment. Heaven's plan has been to prepare you for exactly this moment. That is why I want to ask you, with sincerity, to help keep this message alive. Like this, so it remains in circulation for others to find. Share it with those in your circle who are in the middle of their test and need to know there is glory on the other side. And don't just pass by, quietly leave a comment. Even a single phrase that marks your agreement with what God has been speaking to you here. Your comment might be the very thing that confirms for someone else that they are not walking alone. Finally, subscribe, so this flow of strength, clarity, and prophetic truth can continue to meet you right where you are. Staying connected is more than a button click. It is choosing to remain in a stream that keeps your spirit sharp and your faith fueled. You are heaven's chosen. You have passed the ultimate test. And now, you walk forward with heaven standing at your side, forever marked, forever blessed, forever unstoppable.